Live from a NASCAR bunker in Kyle's parents' basement, it's Turn the Radio Off with Mike Parsons and Kyle Bauer.
Become a fan at Facebook.com/TTRO Show. Follow along on Twitter.com/TTRO Show. Or just listen right now. It's Turn the Radio Off.
TTRO. Phase 3, back to the basement. Here we are, Kyle.
At least it's your basement.
Yeah, this time. Well, who would have thought that on a podcaster's salary I could afford a basement? And that's all it is a basement, because that's really all I can afford.
Well, it's a nice basement down here. I have to say, you got some wainscoting. You got
no idea what that is.
Well, that's this white paneling down here on the bottom half
paint
of the wall.
Paint a picture. Don't paint a picture, because I want the listener to paint the picture themselves. A little theater of the mind.
Actually, that's a really good call. Theater of the mind in radio has always been a good tool.
So, about 5.5 years ago, we started this thing, and it's taken us all over the Metro Detroit area. We started in your basement in Warren, and then we moved to my apartment in Warren. We did an episode from my loft in Detroit. We did that in the now burgeoning Eastern Market, at least on Saturdays. We did a brief stint at a college radio station in Auburn Hills.
A brief stint at a law firm in Royal Oak.
That's right. Until they actually started suing us, then we had to leave. We did a brief stint in my apartment in Troy. We did a long stint at a repurposed factory. And we did one episode at your apartment in Warren before we did a brief stint at said repurposed factory. Right. Yeah. Or long stint at repurposed factory. Right. And a lot of people are probably wondering what happened. And, I'm not sure if or how I want to address it just yet. I don't want to give the stock PR answer, but I also don't want to tell my side of the story when the other party isn't here. Let's just say that the departure was a bit sudden. It didn't end on great terms, but they're not irreconcilable, at least in my mind. I'd hope not. Yeah. It's an ongoing process, and I've got nothing but respect and gratitude for Tap Detroit, what they built over there, what they started with the whole podcast movement here in Detroit, and they were very, very supportive of me, but there were events that just led me to the conclusion that maybe it's best if we went independent once again. So, yeah, and here we are. We can do the show on our own terms, our own time, and that's nice that we at least have that freedom again. And I think it's nice being back in the basement, although next time I'll bring a hoodie. Yeah, do that. A little chilly down here. Yeah, well, the basement is where you go when it's too hot in the summertime, and or there's a tornado. But, Kyle... There's going to be a tornado of hot takes coming up. I can't... What, we got Dave Grohl in the studio? We have a Corey Taylor hot take coming up. We have white trash Dave Grohl. We have meth head Dave Grohl and white trash Dave Grohl all coming up within the next hour with hot takes. We have hot takes on hot takes. How's that for meta? Those are the hottest takes. But those are the type of takes that burn your fingers and your tongue. We do start this episode with Dave Letterman being very jealous of us because we are still broadcasting during the Donald Trump presidential run. I guess the other night at an event, Dave Letterman came out of retirement for a Donald Trump presidential run specific top 10 list. And I said at the beginning, Kyle, I think this Donald Trump run is a publicity stunt. It's a ruse. And I was looking forward to just the type of crazy crap that was going to come out of it. Well, now it turns out that Donald Trump is in a Twitter war with a drug lord from a very powerful Mexican cartel. Have you been following this today?
No, I haven't. I've been busy with work, and then I had some other business to take care of, and now I'm here. I haven't really been on the hot take factory that is Twitter.
Well, let me fill you in. Over the weekend, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, he was the head of the powerful Sinaloa cartel, I guess down in Mexico and Central America.
And he escaped from prison, right?
He escaped from a Mexican prison, and it was a very elaborate escape. So chances are he had help from the inside. And I think a guy like this, you're talking about a guy who runs a very popular drug cartel, and he could probably buy or threaten anybody into helping an escape in El Chapo. Well, of course, Donald Trump, he's been let's say, enthusiastically waving the flag for immigration reform. To the point where it sounds like he's talking about all Mexicans. Now, if I'm being honest, I don't believe that Donald Trump was talking about all Mexicans. I think he was just too gung-ho in his first press conference, and it's caused a firestorm. And if you're NBC or you're Univision, even if you believed that he was talking about illegal immigrants, you still had to cut ties with them because Univision, their entire viewing audience is Mexican. NBC, there's 80 million Mexicans in the United States.
Yeah, hashtag not all Mexicans. Actually, he seemed to be implying that a fair amount of Mexicans were coming over here to commit rape and traffic drugs, and a lot of them do the labor that we haven't wanted to do. Some say that's driving down the market, but one would say that is a situation that we Americans precipitated to begin with. And he's made a lot of really ignorant blanket generalizations towards Mexicans, and this is why I agree that it's a publicity stunt. While he's losing endorsements, he's lining himself up to take the Sarah Palin role on Fox News. Would you agree that that's what this is?
Well, I not to get too far off topic, but yes, I think that there are some presidential candidates who don't run for president. They run to increase their speaker fees after the campaign. They run for a book deal after the campaign. See Sarah Palin, see Herman Cain, see Ted Cruz, which I think he's doing for the evangelical conferences.
And Ted Cruz is floundering right now because he's really, Donald Trump is stealing all of his hateful thunder.
He really is. And let's get back to this Twitter feud that he's having with El Chapo, a very powerful drug lord in Mexico.
Now, what I want to know about old Chappie is why is this guy on Twitter when he's a fugitive?
Because he's brazen. This is like the third time he's escaped, and the last time he escaped, he was on the lam for 8 years. This guy is very confident that he's not going to get caught again.
As most drug lords are.
Right, because, in Mexico, and Kyle, let me preface this by saying in a very sane way, I'm for border security, not for the guy who comes into the United States, does construction and sends money back to his family. But for these drug cartels that are no joke, they've overpowered or they bought off all the police forces down in Mexico. They're probably more powerful than the Mexican military, and I'm sure that if they had a chance, they'd overpower a lot of police forces here in America. So I think those are the ones that we want to keep out of the country. Obviously,
it's been savage down there without question. It's been savage,
right? But of course, Donald Trump. All this controversy around him, immigration. Now he's saying, "See, I meant illegal immigration," and he's using these news stories to benefit him, like that terrible tragedy of that shooting of that young woman in San Francisco by an illegal immigrant. And now he's getting on Twitter and he's taking shots at El Chapo. Donald Trump tweeted last night on July 12th. I can't do a Trump impression, so I'm not even going to try. Can you envision Jeb Bush or Hillary Clinton negotiating with El Chapo, the Mexican drug lord who escaped from prison? He goes on to say, Trump, however, would kick his ass. I kind of like that, Kyle. I kind of like that. You know what? He's in his own mind. He's Rambo, and so El Chapo, he gets on Twitter or his son gets on Twitter or whatever, and it says on the account administered by Guzman's son Ivan, so El Chapo Jr. He says, "If you keep pissing me off, I'm going to make you eat your words, you effing blonde milkshake." And I guess in Mexico, milkshake is a homophobic slur. So,
oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So,
I thought they was calling him a milkshake because he's so pasty white.
That could be. Now, look, obviously, as annoying as you think Donald Trump is, you don't want anything bad to happen to him. But, like I said, this has gone to a level that I could not predict. And I would say that at this point, Trump's presidential run eclipses old hickory moon-based Newt Gingrich. And you know what's you know what the funny thing is, Kyle? Trump's up in a lot of polls. If he's not careful, he's actually going to be the Republican nominee for president.
I can't stop laughing at the idea of Trump telling a drug lord he's going to kick his ass.
You know what?
Who the f*** is this guy?
Kyle, as bat spit crazy as it is, I'm actually digging it a whole lot.
Well,
I am so entertained.
Not out of a potential president. I mean, just as a man. Here's the thing. I've always had the same fascination with Trump. I mean, not that I watched The Apprentice or any of those shows, but I've always had a similar fascination with Trump to most people, where he's very charismatic.
Right.
Even if a lot of what he says is sexist or racist or just completely insane, still you like him because he's a character. Not that he's someone you want to endorse to lead your country, but at the same time, I mean, you know, you like that he shoots from the hip, says any stupid thing that comes out of his mouth, and there's no record of him openly discriminating against anyone.
Right.
For all we know, this is just talk for him to get into the headlines. I hate to sound like I'm giving Trump the benefit of the doubt. I'm just saying that's what doesn't make him a totally repulsive creature
right.
to me. So, those comments that he made about illegal immigrants or undocumented citizens or whatever you want to call them.
Right.
They were over the line. They were offensive. They were very rash and harsh. And but he kind of has won me back almost with this stunt.
Me too.
I think I certainly don't agree in the least with what he said, and I still hope that he doesn't even come close to winning a primary. But man, I can't.
You're kind of like,
I
get him.
can't stop laughing at him.
Get him, Donnie. And look, I forgot who said it. It may have
What
even
a
been
jackass.
It may have even been King propagandist himself, Rush Limbaugh, who said that politics is showbiz for the ugly, and baby, this is showbiz.
Oh,
to
it's
the
great
highest
showbiz.
degree.
And he is ugly to the highest degree.
That's true. He fits both. Speaking of showbiz, can everyone now just agree that Bill Cosby did it?
Yeah, well, I've felt that way
right.
for a long time, but there are still folks holding out. I found out like Jill Scott was one of the famous defenders of Cosby, and she recanted and admitted and
you mean accusers?
Well, no,
oh.
She was.
She defended him, and now she's not defending him.
Right, and she recanted, and after the whole leaked testimony of that one civil case came out, or that one deposition came out, that she felt she was wrong. She apologized, and she felt that evidence was sufficient enough. But apparently, Bill Cosby still has some defenders out there, which just completely shatters my mind.
Well, for people who are wondering why we're talking about Bill Cosby again, last week while we were off, a sealed testimony from 2005 came to light where Bill Cosby admitted to giving, what's the name of the Quaaludes to women he wanted to have sex with. To me, that should have ended the debate. But on The View, Whoopi was keeping the faith.
No one has convicted him. He has not been arrested. And the bottom line is that's the law. Innocent until proven guilty. And if you're the mother of a son, who gets accused, you want to keep